Well, at least 15 former Northwestern athletes plan to file a lawsuit in the hazing scandal that rocked the prestigious university. That's according to their attorney, who says he found clear evidence of a pervasive culture of abuse within the school's baseball and softball programs, in addition to growing complaints of abuse from the football team. Let's discuss with the panel. President of Life Flip Media, Eric Mitchell, and managing partner of the Ivy coach, Brian Taylor. Thank you both for being here. Brian, I'll start with you. So this is quite a fall from grace for such a renowned institution. You pair that with the recent college admissions scandal. What are the implications here in your view?
Really, there have always been cracks in the facade of these institutions. For years, many of these schools have claimed to be need blind, to not factor in a student's ability to pay when weighing their case for admission. And yet admissions officers for years could see the answer to whether or not these students needed financial aid with their own eyes. For years, these schools claimed to not discriminate against Asian American applicants, yet the discovery in the Harvard lawsuit made quite clear they do discriminate against Asian American applicants. These institutions, first and foremost, they're businesses, and these businesses are driven by their bottom line to meet their institutional needs.
All right. And to your point, Eric, is this a case of one bad apple, or is this a systematic problem? It sounds like by your reaction, I think I'm hearing the answer already.
I wish I could say this is the lone university doing this, but it's not. Hazing takes place. Obviously, I represent a lot of folks that play professional sports. I put this question out there when this story broke a couple weeks ago, and they all kind of chuckled like I'm doing about it because it's everywhere. I guess there's a different level of hazing, as we'll call it. I am a Marine, and of course, I was hazed when I was in the Marine Corps, and I probably can admit on air that I hazed Marines also. Did we do it crazy? No, like we had people do male buoy watch, which means they looked outside in the middle of the Pacific Ocean for a buoy that supposedly had our mail on it. It didn't, but that's what we did to folks. But it does happen at universities. I mean, it's happened in the military at drastic, you can look it up. It's happened in the Marine Corps at horrible levels at 8th and I. But this is kind of everywhere. It's like there's like different levels of hazing. Like there's making the team, and then there's some of what we're seeing these allegations which cross the line for anybody who plays a sport.
And I think the degree to which the coach is involved directly in this will probably play a big factor as well. So, Brian, in other news this week, the president of Stanford University announced he is stepping down over concerns about inaccuracies in his research. So should these distinguished schools be held to a higher standard?
You bet they should. When any student earns admission to Stanford or any highly selective school, their offer of admission is conditional on their courses not changing, conditional on their grades not dropping, conditional on their behavior remaining the same. Yet there's obvious hypocrisy at the very top. The Stanford president was caught being dishonest in scientific papers, and it's not like he's alone. Several years ago, the dean of admissions at MIT was caught fabricating her academic credentials. And this was the very person who was deciding the offers of admission for one of America's most prestigious schools. But it seems there are two sets of rules, because at 11 o'clock, when a student cites a paper wrong, they're expelled oftentimes. And that kind of story doesn't make the news, whereas these stories do make the news. So there's two sets of rules, and there shouldn't be.
All right. So, Eric, I can't help but think of the families who are spending thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars in some cases to send their children to these schools. So how is the news like this being received by the folks cutting the checks?
Not well, because I'm one of them. I send my beautiful daughter, who just finished her freshman year at a very prestigious university. And I can tell you, I 1000% agree that these universities should be held accountable, because they hold our children, our students, accountable in everything they do. So it has to be exactly across the board equality, right? This is what they preach about. They want to hold their students to this high standard where they can expel them, punish them, drive them to tears. No, then they need to do the right thing too, and not, plagiarism and all these other things that they're getting caught doing. Don't misrepresent your data, and don't expect parents like myself, who are shelling out thousands of dollars to send our child to school. Don't expect to sit here when you send me an email going, oh, by the way, we're raising tuition because of inflation, and then expect that we're going to find out professors aren't doing the right thing and not quoting the right amount of data. Trust me, it's a pain point for all parents.
I hear you. All right. So, Brian, do you believe this story is catching fire because there's something about seeing the high and mighty being brought down? Or do you wonder, if we can't have academic faith in these institutions, where can we put our trust?
Well, if America's colleges want us to have faith in them, they can start by addressing another very timely hypocrisy, perhaps the first hypocrisy at all of these schools, which is legacy admission. Just a couple of weeks ago, affirmative action, the practice of offering preferential treatment to underrepresented minority applicants, was outlawed at these institutions. Yet legacy admission, the practice of offering preferential treatment to the sons, the daughters, and the grandchildren of alumni of a school's alumni base, that still stands at many of these institutions. And that, to me, is academically dishonest, because these schools claim to want to promote this meritocracy, and yet they are creating an aristocracy in some cases. Right. Yesterday, Western University announced the end of legacy admission, and it's high time other schools join them.
We'll have to leave it there. Brian, Eric, thank you both for joining us.